normally, what this channel does is just broadcast, you know, JNC sim racing, racing, with or without success. It depends on the race. However, today is something a little bit different. I had the idea to have a little pre-race for the NACR 4 GT series ahead of round 5 at Le Mans. Yeah, that's about it. This is our second try. It didn't work the last time.
Due to technical difficulty.
On both sides.
Yep.
So, now that we've gotten this figured out, I want to move on to move first to the circuit and the car combination. The Ford GT Spec 2 test car, notable as a sort of hero car, not quite the same reputation as its regular racing car from Gran Turismo 4. Joe, from what you've seen from these cars, what's it like to drive this around the track?
It's fairly good. It's a fairly good car to drive. Although you got to be on your A game to drive them, because apparently they don't like cornering or harsh braking. Especially if you have your brakes set to the rear. But yeah, they are fun to drive.
What I've been noticing is, especially in the bolt-on chicanes, they seem to be very finicky. If you send it too hard, you're going straight into the gravel, no questions asked. If you brake too early,
that's the definite. If
you brake too early, it seems like you're just gonna, like, no matter how light the braking is, no matter how early it is, even no matter how light it is when you start, it just doesn't seem like it's going to get you through the corner fast enough.
Yeah, but you kind of have to tiptoe these. The way I could describe these is like, do you remember the COTs from like 5 and Gran Turismo 5 and 6?
Yeah.
You kind of have to tiptoe them through the corners. A bit like the NASCARs out of Gran Turismo 5 and 6. But
I guess compared to Goodwood, where there was a lot of problems with staying on the track and following another car, I don't think that's going to be as much of a problem this time. You're going to have a good bit of slipstream down the whole side.
The only place where I could see anyone really having issues is that final chicane sequence.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a very... I don't think that's going to be a very often used overtaking opportunity. What I think is that's going to be more like, if you're going to be ballsy about it, it's probably that's who's going to overtake there. Most times you're just going to have to sit until you get to Dunlop.
Yeah, you personally, you wouldn't even want to even think about overtaking through that sequence. You just want to wait for like the start finish and just do it in the first chicane. Just round the outside, easy as you like.
Now another talking point about this track and car combo is actually going to be the track limits. Track limits is so far from what I've seen, it's been a pain to deal with.
Yeah. The mods might have them turned off for the race, they might not. It depends. Really. So
now, I'm gonna switch gears into points for rank 1. Quimbers has a pretty good lead, 12 points with 2 races left. He's got 124 over Schwinn's 112. Quimbers has a 100% podium rate. However, none of those races are wins. Now, do you think that's going to carry over going into today, the 100% podium rate?
I reckon he's bound to get his first win sooner or later. It'll probably be today, it might be at the final. But he is one of the more consistent drivers.
So, I guess as well...
He just has a style that's kind of poetic, if you're... Like, the way he can take a car to any track and just be fast, it even astounds me, and I'm in the same rank as him. And I'm nowhere near him.
Something else interesting is that there has not been one standout winning driver. Like, we've had 3 different winners in Rank 1. Mr. MCA won Race 1 at the Alsace Village. Blue Moon Bay Infield B was won by Webb Smurfer, who's currently 3rd in points. And the last 2 races at Tokyo South Outer and Goodwood have been won by Young PDK. So, do you think we're going to get a 4th different winner today, then?
Possibly. Although I wouldn't bank on it too much. Because I think whoever is ahead after lap 1 will probably win.
You think it's going to be one of those races? If you lead on lap 1, you're going to stay there.
Yeah. Because there is, for the track's length, there are only so many spots you can really go for an overtake in these cars.
I still think there's a fairly good amount of overtaking opportunities.
There's a decent amount. It's just you have to be in. You have to literally be on their bumper, coming to them.
The one I think is really going to be utilized, and I'm not sure how many people are going to really recognize this, is Indianapolis. I really think the run-up to Indianapolis is going to be where you're going to see the most overtakes. Because that's arguably faster than the chicanes on the Mulsanne. It's just such a steep rundown to it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's going to be a really major overtaking opportunity today.
Yeah. Well, if you can set it up, you can pull it. You can pull it off if you set it up just right. But what I've also noticed here from my flying laps is, it is going to be a part where the cars are going to want to snap loose under braking.
And that, that, as alluded to earlier, that's something that all cars will probably be struggling with, especially if they have their car more into a looser driving style.
You might get the odd brave driver trying to send it around the outside in the kink before Indianapolis. But if you don't watch his spacing, that will lead to accidents.
Yeah, we've seen that time and time again in the actual 24 Hours of Le Mans, where trying to set up an opportunity at Indianapolis doesn't work. Thankfully, this is Gran Turismo, and you don't have such high stakes, but it is still reasonably high, because depending on how bunched up the field is, you can very much lose a lot of spots if you get it wrong at the kink.
Yeah. Yeah, you can lose a lot of spots, but you can also gain a lot of spots here in a relatively short amount of time. I've been in other league races here where I have gone from 16th to about 5th, all in the space of the first lap.
So, any lap 1 heroes you think eyes need to be on going into rank 1 race?
I'd say Quimbers, he's been looking strong all season. Schwinn, he's been a good lap 1 heavy hitter. And I'd say look out for Webb, because he has some monstrous pace at the start.
And I guess as a sort of benchmark here, participants in the race today are listed as active participants today are Mariner, Ford, Snippy, Ranga. I'm not quite sure who that is. I believe that's someone new? Is that a rookie?
Yeah, I think it's a new guy.
JNC here, Young BDK, Quimbers, Epic Schwinn, and then Seb Midge, who is the FS2. He is listed as undecided, so I'm not quite sure who may be able to make it. I know Webb is actually not able to make it today.
Oof. That is a surprise to me.
Oh wait, no. Is Snippy Webb or is that someone else? I gotta look at the points again. I'm totally a professional at this, guys.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, yeah. Webb's not gonna be able to make it today. They are two separate people. Good to know. So I'll take it over to you so we can switch gears to rank 2.
Yep, I'll just hark up.
It would also be wise to pull up the stats and all that.
Right.
One more thing before I... so that the viewers who don't have this piece of technology that we have on our phones right now can see here.
This is top studio budget.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's been a really unusual split as to how this has happened. Been working on rank 1.
Yeah, well, rank 1 at times is unusual. Sometimes Chaos will just walk into the room in a drunken stupor and just go, "Here you go, here's your race results."
Now, the most fastest laps right now belongs to Webb, who got the fastest laps at Blue Moon Bay and Tokyo. Young PDK has the most poles with poles at Tokyo and Goodwood, both of which he won from. So... Last question about rank 1. Do you think if PDK gets pulled, do you think it's game over from there?
Possibly, but I know he'll have some competition gunning for him. Cause Quimbers will be wanting to get that win after just missing out last week. I know Schwinn will be gunning for him, so Young has some strong competition on him, to say the least.
So now, real quickly, we're gonna switch gears to rank 2. So I guess this is your end of it now.
Right.
What I've been doing.
Right, so here we are, rank 2. Obviously in the leagues. Obviously, as the league accommodates all skill levels, we are sorted into ranks and the like to match other races of our skills. Yeah,
there was rank 1 that we were just talking about, and then there's the second rank. Well,
yes,
not all the drivers aren't slouches here. Like they're still pretty good, but they but based on time trial times set before the season began, that is how they grouped everyone together.
Yep.
So some of the guys in rank 2, maybe as fast as some guys in rank 1, but they didn't get the lap time they needed to at Monza.
Yeah. But they have made alterations to the lap times, like if you're commonly in rank 1 and you mess up a lap, they will, I think they will give you another shot at it. Just to make sure that you can do better, or if that's all you can do. So, into rank 2, and your leader is Intimidator, with some pretty consistent results. 2 seconds, a 5th, and a win. So, how did those come about?
Well, I know the 580 car here, it's what they've been doing is just kind of keep... I know we saw in race 1 at Alsace, the 580 was leading most of the race, taking advantage of Red Hair and Dojo making mistakes. However, the raw pace that race wasn't exactly where it needed to be at the end of it. So Red managed to make an undercut work, and car 61 won the race rather than 580, despite being the more dominant car. Race 2, the 580 struggled out there. He had a bad start, went off at turn 1, had a collision at the grid, and just couldn't get higher than 5th. Just couldn't find anything in that car. But race 3, we saw Red wasn't there, and 580 was able to make a no-stop strategy work so that they, could cruise to the victory without issue. They, after a good battle with Stormy and Pumps, race 4 at Goodwood, save for Red Hair, everyone was making mistakes out there, including 580. Well, the mistakes were rather few compared to some of the other guys. The mistakes the 580 did make were costly, which is why Red Hair managed to get a 30-second jump on him. What we've seen in Rank 2, though, is cars 580, 61, and 67 be the class of the field. Some guys have had pretty decent rides so far, but other guys have just not been anywhere near where they were expected to be. I know Jet, I was expecting to be higher up. Granted, he's missed a couple races, but the races he did make, they weren't exactly his fastest. So, much like Rank 1, there has been a lot of shuffling of positions, especially in the midfield. Now, Red Hair is back to 100% health. If you didn't know, he had surgery on his left hand, so he basically was driving right-handed in the last couple races. So, now that he's back to 100%, I don't doubt the 61's going to be, like, the guy to beat. But both the 61 of Red Hair and the 580 Intimidator both were saying, this is the week for both of them. Like, both are very confident going into today. They know they have fast cars, and they have been the faster drivers without mistakes for the most part. Dojo is a sleeper. He's had quite a few costly mistakes, but he has had the speed to make up for it. Now, unfortunately for him, he hasn't really won a race yet, which I guess that's the sort of Quimber's syndrome there. But, assuming things go right for him, I don't doubt he'll be able to win this race.
Yeah, I'd put money on it.
Of course, there are others in the series, aside from those three. About them Chiefs, who got his first career podium at Goodwood. He kept his nose clean. He did everything he needed to. It was brought up in pre-race. It wasn't the fastest guy that was going to win this race. It was going to be the guy who made the least mistakes. And Chiefs arguably made the second lowest number of mistakes. He kept his nose clean for the most part, went off once or twice, but he was able to stay ahead of Dojo and the others so that he can bring home third place finish for Car 54. First time he had been on the NACR podium, which is a great result. I imagine that's probably going to be a very good a momentum shift for him going into today, because when you get a result like that, you're going to be riding high after that. You're going to be having a lot of fun. You're going to be feeling at your best.
Yes. So, what I've noticed is there's more of the field, points-wise, isn't as close as it is in Rank 1. Like, the results in the midfield seem more all over the place, if you will.
Yeah, and that is partially because the last couple, the last race at Goodwood, there were only 6 cars entered, and I believe right now there's only about 7 in Rank 2. I need to look at that quick here. Again, totally professional.
Yep.
Totally professional studio.
We are on a studio budget.
Yeah, Vikan, unable to make it. He's been ruled out for the season due to other commitments. Bretsky, Red Hair, Chiefs, Stormy, Jarvis, who is set to make his racing return after a couple weeks. Doghouse and Intimidator are all signed up for today. And then the undecided was Q. We aren't... questionable waiting list is Q. He's on the reserve list. Dojo and Sanks are on the undecided list.
Yeah.
So we might have a decently sized grid for race 2. Won't know until the lobby goes up in about 40-ish minutes.
Yep.
But You know, I think it's going to be very interesting today because we got the championship contenders with 2 races left, and then there's the midfield guys who are trying to work their way through up the rankings. The one I'm disappointed. I've alluded to the disappointment with how Jet's season's gone. He didn't even make the Goodwood race. But champion of the 997 series, Killer Pumps, he's only gotten 1 podium. That was at Blue Moon Bay. The other 2 races, he's finished 7th and 6th. Now, do you think... I don't know if that's the driver pool or if that's the car that's kind of holding it back here.
I'd say...
What are you making of it?
I'm making... well, from what I've gathered from all ranks regarding this car, it's not really to everyone's liking. And there is quite a few out in the crowd that just have a really tough time driving this car. Like, they have... I know a few people here and there who have not exactly the best look in this car. Occasionally at a track they'll come through, get up, but then you start heading to tracks that are more technical than others and they just have the worst looks. I think I'll use myself again as an example. Goodwood, I just had the worst possible time in that car. I was spinning out. I think I spun out a total of about 5 times. I ended up a lap down and only really got my position in the end because the guy in front went off.
Yeah, I think another example was Red Hair. Not Red Hair Chiefs. He had a really bad start to the season. Finished 11th in Alsace. Got a couple top 10s in Blue Moon Bay and Tokyo, and then managed to snag the podium at Goodwood. Just some tracks you're more suited to, and you know, other drivers weren't. Now, on the topic of the races here, you know, we alluded to this in the Rank 1 chatter, was drop rounds. The NACR point system uses best 5 of 6 races, or 9 of 10 races, where your worst race is taken off. Now, this is made a lot more interesting in Race 2, because Red Hair missed Tokyo, and Intimidator won that race. If Red Hair misses one more race, arguably that sets the 580 up for a good championship push. But if Red Hair is able to make the next couple races, which I don't doubt he will, we know he's entered into today, but if he doesn't make the last race, that would be very beneficial to the 580 crew, and probably Dojo as well, because both of them have not missed a single race yet.
Yep.
And thus, their worst races would be chopped off if, say, both of them finish 1-2 in both races. The Blue Moon Bay race for the 580 for Intimidator would be knocked off, and Dojo's Goodwood race would be knocked off. What's interesting to me was that before the pre-race before Goodwood, everyone was everyone in the Rank 2 lobby was hoping that the drop round was going to be that of Goodwood. But the 580 camp, they were talking about, they were hoping that Goodwood would not be their drop round, because they knew they had a bad race at Blue Moon Bay, and knew if they had a solid result at Goodwood, which, to give them credit, despite mistakes, they finished second. If they finished on the podium the next 2 races, then that would mean that the drop round for the 580 Intimidator would be the Blue Moon Bay race. However, because if Red Hair wins both races, you know, that's basically game over. He's basically got the entire sweep.
Yeah. Unless
if he isn't able to make one more race, which I don't doubt, unless unforeseen circumstances come up. I don't doubt that he's going to make the next 2 races.
Yeah. I'd say he's making the next 2 races, personally.
So, if he makes the next 2 races, then that means the 580 is going to have to hope that Red Hair has a really bad race at one or both of these next races. If he ends up arriving to the next 2. But, and I guess the same goes for Dojo, because he's still in this championship hunt as well. While the Intimidator's off with an 8-point lead right now, Dojo's out second, I think, with 117. I think that is. I have to remember how to read a graph. Yeah, Dojo's in second with 117. Red Hair's with 106 right now. That's without drop rounds. It's very interesting to see how this championship will unfold going into the final leg of the season. Because we've seen here, some guys don't show up, and that comes to the benefit of others. Other times, everyone shows up, and that's to the detriment of others. It's a very wild card-ish kind of thing to go over here. Because it adds a level of intrigue as to what can happen in the next race. It really sets you up so that if you have a bad race, fair enough, you get 1. But if you have a second bad race, that's when trouble starts setting in. If you make all 6 races,
yeah.
It also makes points calculations a lot harder to do by head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just ANCR.
The Red Hair has the most poles in rank 2. He's got 3. The other was won by, it was actually won by Dojo, but it's incorrectly listed as an Intimidator pole position at Tokyo. Meanwhile, the most fastest laps is actually split 4 ways. No one's had a second fastest lap. Dojo had the fastest lap in Alsace, Bretsky had the fastest at Blue Moon Bay, Stormy had the fastest in Tokyo South, and Goodwood had the fastest lap by Red Hair. So the trend there is either one of these 4 is going to get the fastest lap, or another driver is going to get the fastest lap, which, we don't know yet. Yeah. We don't know if that's going to happen. One thing we have noticed is Bretsky and Intimidator both have been lap 1 heroes. They have been known to drive a little bit faster in the first lap.
Yeah.
Intimidator proved that at Tokyo and Alsace, where he jumped to the lead early at both races, or attempted to. Bretsky's known for trying to send it into turn 1, make up any positions lost if he has a bad start. Lap 1, everyone's going to do that.
Yeah.
Some of the more reserved guys, though, like Dojo and Red, they aren't necessarily the biggest movers on the first lap, but they're able to keep their nose clean for the most part. Going through Dunlop, I think that part of it's going to be where it's going to be made or broken here at Le Mans is, while the lap itself is big, the Dunlop chicane is probably going to be your best indicator as to how things are going to stack up. Because everyone's going to be wadded up out of the curve in turn 1. And some guys will miss, some guys will spin. So, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a very interesting race going into it.
Yeah. Yes. So, I'll wrap it up. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for
listening
viewing
to our
or not
bullshit.
viewing.
Well, I mean, people will
totally
probably view it when it's
work.
shared. Yep, we are a studio on a budget. Times are hard.
I think we may do pretty well with what we have.
Yeah. Like Haas in F1.
Oh, that might be a little too soon.
And we make jokes. Until next time, I have been JNC Sim Racing.
And I am Intimidator, signing off!
And we are done.
I'd say that was pretty good.
Yep, pretty good. And
perhaps I can make a studio analyst.
Yep. Sure can intimidate a show.
It would be easier to do if I actually was able to link my YouTube to my PlayStation. Which I still haven't been able to do.
You can do some like James Sabuski. What is it?
Like
James?
what?
James Sabuski?
James Sabolsky, yeah.
Yeah, James Sabolsky in level analytics.
Yeah.
Damn, he does not go easy on you on Be a Pro if you fuck up.
I haven't really done a whole lot to be a pro, I'm going to be honest, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Damn,
But
he like
it's about the same. It's about the same as what an actual show would do to you.
Yeah.
Like a TSN Sports Center, like Sportsnet has their shows. I listened to the Steve Dangle podcast, which, they're all Leaf fans, but they all cover the league, which I like.
Yeah.
And they're like they're the not annoying kind of Leafs fans, which is a good kind of fan. Because Leaf fans are normally pretty annoying.
No, it's not like James Sabolsky himself. It's like the guys they got in to come in to do the voices for the callers who call into the show. I was like, damn, this is more in depth than FIFA.
Yeah, they really did pretty good with it.
Hey EA, what the fuck, man? Although I'm done with soccer, ice hockey is now my sport of choice. Where it's only the league doing the shitty things.
Yeah.
Maybe a few players and teams here and there, but I don't care.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but you do bad in one game on Be a Pro, one of the callers will come onto the show, and they'll be like, seriously? This is the guy we got? Seriously? It's like, Jesus, Brandon.
Yeah, that's how some hockey fans are.
Yeah, right, I gathered. And it's like, Jesus, Brandon from High River. What's your problem, man? What'd I do? Hey, every player has a bad game here and there. Just because I don't score, and I lose to the Calgary Jets. Or Calgary Flames.
Calgary Flames.
Winnipeg Jets. I lost to both.
Brayden would kill you for mixing that up.
Please. I'm pretty sure I'm already on his people he wants to kill list anyway. And wait, wouldn't Chase kill me for that one too?
No. No, he wouldn't.
Well, isn't he a Flames fan too?
No, he lives in Calgary.
Or any... Where is he? Canucks?
Anaheim.
Oh, Anaheim. The Mighty Ducks.
Or just the Ducks now, because Disney doesn't own them now.
Yeah.
Disney hasn't owned them since like 2006.
Yep. Yeah, but they pumped out a shit ton of crappy kids shows and movies.
Aside from the first one. I've heard the first one's really good. And then...
Yeah, the second two are really bad. There's like 3 of them.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna leave the party.
Alright. I'm gonna...
So, and leave the lobby in effect.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave.
So I can get myself a little bit... so I can get myself a little bit psyched for today. So, I shall talk to you later. I hope that went up.
Yeah, right. Let me just check. It'll probably be under YouTube's reviewing, making sure we're abiding by the community standards.
It says still live? Yeah, you didn't stop recording.
Shit. So, these are the